Up, up, up. Welcome to Vintage Garage. The show today is the first of a two-part show. Over the course of the next 2 weeks, we're going to drive Route 66 from Chicago to Los Angeles. We're on our way to El Mirage, a dry lake just east of Los Angeles, where the Southern California Timing Association is holding their championship for land speed record cars. These are the same cars that run at the Bonneville Salt Flats, and it should be a lot of fun. This week we'll follow the trail of historic Route 66 through Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, and to the Grand Canyon in Arizona. Then next week we'll complete the trip, driving the last leg of the trip from Arizona to California, and we'll cover the races at El Mirage. So stay tuned, we have a full show today. Glad you're here. Our trip begins as we leave Rockville at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. We head northwest on Interstate 270 toward Breezewood, Pennsylvania. In Breezewood, we pick up the Pennsylvania Turnpike. In a few hours, we're crossing into Ohio. Later in the afternoon, we make Indiana. It's late in the day and our co-driver is resting for the late night shift. We reach Chicago on the Illinois Skyway around 6 p.m. that same night. We head downtown to the Chicago Loop. We're pointing southbound on Michigan Ave, waiting for the light to change. As soon as the bus turns, we'll begin our trip out Route 66. This is Adams Street in downtown Chicago. Up ahead and above is a train station for the Loop. We're now further west, still on Adams. Illinois has done a good job at marking the trail of Route 66. We've passed a number of historic Route 66 highway signs on Adams, and this sign points us down Ogden Ave. We're now on Ogden heading toward Cicero, Berwyn, and Riverside. We're out of the truck to look at the sign at Robin Hood Mufflers. Directly across Ogden is a muffler man standing out in front of Bunyan's Cafe. International Fiberglass of Venice, California, turned out several thousand similar statues, and they've now become quite collectible. We made it to the Wishing Well Motel on Joliet Road in Willowbrook. They have a vacancy here. This will be a good place to stop for the night. There was a light rain overnight and a bit of fog and drizzle this morning. In the daylight, we see the Wishing Well outside of the motel. We're on Broadway heading into Joliet. The bridge over the Des Plaines River is up and out of service for repairs. That sign says Highway 53 and Route 66 go left here over the bridge. but we have to detour to the right to miss the bridge repairs. The detour in Joliet takes us on Route 30, which is part of the old Lincoln Highway that runs from New York to San Francisco. This is the Lincoln Highway Bridge over the Des Plaines River in Joliet. We turn right here to leave the Lincoln Highway and to rejoin Route 66. We're at Milano Old-Fashioned Scratch Bakery on the south side of Joliet. It's been baking cookies since 1915. This is the famous Milano Bakery.
Yes, it is.
And we're going to get some baked goods to take along on our trip to California. This is Braidwood, Illinois. We got a 1/4 pound of sugar cookies and a 1/4 pound of Italian cookies at Milano Bakery, and we'll probably finish them off in another mile or two. The Route 66 drive-in is closed this morning, but no matter. We came to see the statues of Elvis, Betty Boop, and the others. We're just outside of Odell, Illinois, and this restored Standard Oil gas station is worthy of special note. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. We're between Odell and Normal. This is a nice old grain elevator. This is Bloomington, Illinois, the next town south of Normal. This is McLean, Illinois. We want to stop here at the Dixie truck stop. Inside Dixie truck stop, they have a convenience store and a small display of Route 66 items. We're south of Lincoln, Illinois. There's the Superior Ambulance Company in Springfield, Illinois. Up ahead, that's the State Capitol building. We're heading west in Springfield to pick up the very old alignment of Route 66 that dates back to the 1920s. There's another muffler man outside of Louderback Tire. We're on the 1920s old alignment near Verdon. We stopped here to look at the construction of the road. We see that this was originally a brick road, but it was covered at some time with asphalt. This is the town of Thayer, Illinois. This is a long stretch of the old alignment, probably dating back to the 20s. This is the Central Square in Carlinville, Illinois. They've done a good job keeping the town nice. This is the town of Gillespie, Illinois. We're south of Staunton. The old and new alignments meet up here. There's our first sign for Merrimack Caverns. On the right is the Bel Air Drive-In in Mitchell, now closed. We're on Chain of Rocks Road. Chain of Rocks Bridge is just ahead. We're standing on Chain of Rocks Bridge. This was the Mississippi River crossing for the old alignment. It was famous in its day for the curve in the middle of the bridge. It was said that the curve made it easier for the barges to navigate under the bridge. That's the I-270 bridge upstream. This is Madison Ave in East St. Louis, and we're heading toward the McKinley Bridge. That was the bridge used by a later alignment of Route 66, and we plan to cross the Mississippi there. There's Nürnberg's men's and ladies' clothing and shoes. We're at the McKinley Bridge and find it's closed to traffic as well. This too is a famous Route 66 bridge. The guidebook said it was in rough shape but open, but it looks like it may be permanently closed. We'll have to double back and make the southern crossing over the I-55 bridge. This is the I-55 bridge. There's the Gateway Arch. welcoming us to Missouri. We're in downtown St. Louis after crossing the Mississippi on the I-55 bridge. We're heading west on Tucker. This was an alignment of Route 66 for many years. We'll soon get on Chippewa and then Watson Road. I-44 is just ahead. We'll drive the interstate from here to Staunton, the exit for Merrimack Caverns, and then stop for the night. It's early Monday morning, and we're leaving the Delta Motel in Staunton, our stop for the night. Merrimack Caverns isn't open this early, so we'll continue toward California. Here Route 66 runs along the south side of I-44. This is Oak Grove. This is Sullivan, Missouri. This is St. James, Missouri. Just east of Rolla, Route 66 crosses to the north side of I-44. We're west of Springfield, heading to Kansas on Old Route 66. The interstate takes a shortcut from Springfield to Oklahoma and bypasses Kansas altogether. You can take the old loops from time to time. We take as many of them as we can find. There's usually something interesting on each of them. This is Carthage, Missouri. This is the Sonic Drive-In in Carthage. We'll get a malted here and a cheeseburger for Einstein. This is Webb City, Missouri. This is downtown Joplin, Missouri. We're leaving Joplin. Kansas is just ahead. We're now in Kansas, heading toward Galena. This is Galena, Kansas, the oldest mining town in Kansas, and Route 66 ran right through the center of town. This is Rainbow Curve Bridge, constructed in 1923 over Brush Creek, only remaining March Arch Bridge on Route 66, listed on the National Registry March 10, 1983. Up ahead is Baxter Springs. This is downtown Baxter Springs. Oklahoma is just ahead. This is downtown Quapaw, Oklahoma. We're on I-44 and Tulsa, Oklahoma is just ahead. We'll stay on I-44 and bypass Tulsa. To visit Tulsa would add a full day to our trip. We're on the old route west of Stroud, Oklahoma. This is Chandler, Oklahoma. There's the Lincoln Motel on the right. Oklahoma City is just ahead, and we'll bypass it on Interstate 44 and stay overnight in El Reno. It's Tuesday morning, and we detoured around the 38-span bridge over the Canadian River west of Oklahoma City. We drove down to the west side of the bridge to inspect the work and are now looking east. We're heading west from the 38-span bridge. It looks like a tough place to make a living here. This is Weatherford, Oklahoma. Route 66 runs along I-40 for a long stretch here. We just saw the first sign telling us to stay overnight in Tucumcari. The landscape is a bit hillier here. We're just east of Clinton. This is Clinton, Oklahoma. The Rio Siesta Motel is on the right. This is the Oklahoma Route 66 Museum. We're going to stop here. Inside the museum there are a number of display rooms, each full of care and packed with Route 66 artifacts. This room has a number of displays about the building of the road and its history. This room features many displays related to the automobile and gas stations along the way. One of our favorite rooms is this one. This is how we'd like our dining room back home to look. This is Canute, Oklahoma. The Washita Motel is on the left. This is Elk City. We're back on the old alignment west of Elk City. It's worth the drive just to see the bridges. A very old alignment is to our right. Let's give it a try. This is Eric, the home of Roger Miller. Once on the main street of America, it's now bypassed by I-40. This is Texola, the last town in Oklahoma. We're now in Texas. Route 66 became a two-lane on the south side of I-40. There's quite a bit of separation between Route 66 and I-40 as we approach Shamrock. There's the U-Drop Inn, perhaps one of the most photographed landmarks on Route 66. It's currently under restoration. It looks like 6 guys are working on it today. The Leaning Water Tower is famous on Route 66, signaling our arrival in Groom. We're on the east side of Amarillo, and there's some local traffic today. We're just west of Amarillo on I-40. Route 66 is parallel to us on the south side. That's Cadillac Ranch off to the side in the distance. West of Adrian, Route 66 and I-40 share the same alignment, and the terrain changes as we approach New Mexico. It's hillier, and there are more signs of weathering. This is New Mexico. The area looks like it was once flat, and through the ages the softer ground has weathered away. This is San John. There's Motel San John on our right. West of San John, the terrain becomes more rugged and drier, yet the area appears scoured by eons of water erosion. This is Tucumcari, the town of 1,500 rooms. The Economy Inn is on the right, and further down on the right is the Blue Swallow Motel, which has been restored and is open. On the left, we see the famous Motel Safari. We'll drive past Santa Fe on the interstate tonight to meet up with the newer alignment of Route 66 in Albuquerque around midnight. We'll stay overnight in Albuquerque. It's Wednesday morning and we're headed west through Albuquerque on Central Avenue. There's the Luna Lodge. Central follows the later alignment of Route 66. This is downtown Albuquerque. The Avalon restaurant is on the right. This is the bridge over the Rio Grande on the west side of town. This bridge is at Rio Porco. It's a Parker through truss built in 1933. It was fabricated by the Kansas Steel Company and was erected by F.D. Shuffleberger of Albuquerque. There's snow on the top of the mountains in the distance. I-40 continues to run on top of Route 66 here. As we head west, the terrain starts to look more and more like eastern Arizona. We're on the Indian Reservation, somewhat east of Grants. There's a number of abandoned businesses along this stretch of the old alignment. This is a pretty stretch of the old road. We just left the Indian Reservation, and this is the town of Grants. We're between Grants and the Continental Divide, and the scenery is rugged here. This is downtown Gallup, New Mexico. The business district's on our left, and the rail yard train station's on the right. There's road construction here. Route 66 and I-40 share the same alignment through this pass in the mountains. The geology is varied and interesting here. Looks like the road construction ends here. Arizona must be just ahead. There's the sign for Arizona. The scenery here is magnificent. It's about noon and we're 15 miles east of the Painted Desert and the Petrified Forest near Navajo. This is the entrance to the Petrified Forest and Painted Desert. Route 66 runs right through the middle of the park, perpendicular to this park road. The Painted Desert is just ahead. This is the view from the first overlook at the Painted Desert. A continuous layer of sandstone once capped this area. Once the sandstone capstone eroded, the deposits below were unprotected from weathering and erosion. The park road loops back over Route 66 between the Painted Desert and the Petrified Forest. The geology here is also most interesting. We're heading downhill into this muddy valley, and we can see thousands of petrified logs on both sides of the road. The Porco River is at the bottom of the hill, and over time it has washed the mud away, exposing the logs. This is a typical log. Quartz and amethyst crystals are often present in the logs. Logs are strewn about all over the hillsides and in the valleys. We're back on Route 66 now, and in the town of Holbrook. There's the Wigwam Motel. Sleep in a wigwam tonight. We just crossed the Little Colorado River, and we're heading into Winslow, Arizona. This is another place where Route 66 was a 4-lane and became deserted when bypassed by the interstate. This is Winslow, Arizona. We have to loop back on Route 66 eastbound to go by Winslow's famous corner. There's the guy standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. Route 66 is blocked here by the interstate, and there's a turnaround loop. We'll take the loop and pass Twin Arrows with the sun to our backs. We left Route 66 at Winona, and we're heading up Route 89 for a side trip to the Grand Canyon. It must be a little wetter here, and there's a thin forest of pine trees. The trees look similar in size and shape to the logs in the petrified forest. I wonder if they're the same species. It's really dark now, but we're just a few miles from the entrance to the park. We made it to the first overlook at the canyon at last light. It's cold and windy up here. We'll spend the night here and photograph the canyon at dawn. It's dawn on Thursday, and we're at the first overlook on the south rim of the Grand Canyon. As we move from overlook to overlook, the sun moves higher in the sky. This is at Lippon Point. We're on our way back to the park entrance. It'll take us about an hour to get back to Williams, Arizona, and Route 66. That's it for this week at Vintage Garage. Next week we have another full show. We'll complete our drive out Route 66, covering the last leg of the trip from the Grand Canyon in Arizona to Santa Monica in California. We'll then go to El Mirage, a dry lake just east of Los Angeles, where the Southern California Timing Association is holding their championships for land speed record cars. These are the same cars that run at the Bonneville Soft Flats, and it should be a lot of fun. So until next week, thanks for coming. Glad you were here. Keep the shiny side up. We'll see you next week. Information about any of the projects we've worked on today, please visit our website at www.vintagegarage.com. There's a link to our email address on the website. Please email us. We'd like to hear from you. Till next time, keep the shiny side up. Thanks for coming. See you next week.